Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 back with another episode. Steve and Will here. Hey, we've had to do a couple solos. I don't like it, Steve. I miss you when we're not
Oh,
together,
that's the
man.
nicest thing I've ever heard.
Man, it's not the way this thing is supposed to be done. But before we get this thing moving, man, hit that subscribe button. You know about the member stuff that we do. So if you're feeling behooved to try to win some stuff, become a member. But I won't bore you with that stuff. We've been talking about it a lot lately. We'll get into the business quickly today. Steve, what the heck are we talking about?
William, I think we might have a little trouble brewing with the Detroit Lions potentially. I hope not. I hope that this is just a little smoke. I think Brad's gonna run up to this smoke with a big bottle of water and he's gonna douse it and put this fire out. But report came out yesterday afternoon, evening time that one of our captains, one of our heartbeats of this team is not happy with his current contract. Well, very important piece, Frank Ragnow, not happy with his current contract with the Detroit Lions. You sent this to me. I kind of heard some rumblings, but I wasn't for sure like if it was credible because some people just put stuff on Twitter, but I don't know. But this is coming from Dave Burkett, a beat writer for I think he's with the Detroit Free Press if I'm not mistaken, and some other writers. So there's some legs to this. Will, how are you feeling about our center, our captain?
Well, first things first, I'm gonna say. Let me see. I mean, I've been working this technology thing, Steve. I've been working it. I've been working it hard. Let's see if I can get it on the fly here. Listen. So not only Dave Burkett, now Sports Illustrated has also got in on the mix. Frank Ragnow potentially unhappy with his contract. Um, Coach Campbell mentioned this a little bit talking about OTAs. He mentioned that there was two guys missing from OTAs, and that was none other than Alex Anzalone and Frank Ragnow. Now comes to find out that it may have been part of, uh, the contract issue. So as I look at this, Steve, and I think about it, what interests me the most about this whole situation is the fact that we drafted Tate. And not only did we just go with Tate Ratledge, we went and put our hands back in the cookie jar and we went and got Frazier as well. Knowing we also had Graham Glasgow and Christian Mahogany. It interests me. Steve, we talked about this on here before. Frank always downplays the idea of him not coming back. He says, hey, I didn't say I wasn't coming back. I didn't say that I'm dancing with not playing anymore. But we know about the toe. Everybody in the world knows about the toe. He's still playing football at a high level, but it makes this whole situation is starting to make me wonder. Now, Frank Ragnow, 2 years left on his contract as you look through this. Coach Campbell's downplaying this thing, but he's got, as you look through this article, 2 years left on a contract. When he signed the contract, he was the highest paid center in 2021. And when he signed this contract right here, the highest paid center in the NFL. But 2 years left on his contract. To me, Steve, and this may not be a popular take, but to me, 2 years left on your contract. When you signed it in 2021, we made you the highest paid center in the NFL. You should be out there playing football, right? Now, if we get into next season and you want to renegotiate your contract, okay, I can ride with that. We can't be renegotiating this contract because now you don't like the terms of it and you got 2 seasons left. Highest grade run blocking center in the league last season, not arguing his level of football abilities, but you signed this contract in 2021 to be the highest paid center. I can't help the prices going this way. Like, what does this turn into every year because somebody got a big payday? Now we're going to renegotiate our contracts every year. Like, I love Frank. Let's not get it twisted. And I don't think the Detroit Lions are doing anything shady, but I do feel like the Detroit Lions are checking every box because what interests me the most, Steve, what did they say Tate Ratledge was doing? Taking snaps at center. Taking snaps at center. Why is he doing that? Frank Ragnow's 29 years old. He's not by any means a fossil. He could be playing this game. You talk about Zeitler. Zeitler's playing this game for what, 37 years old? Like, so what are we doing? Why is Tate taking these snaps? What's going on? So this whole thing, while I don't think it's the hugest thing in the world, I don't think that Frank's about to leave the Detroit Lions or anything crazy. I do think that there's something to what's happening. So, Steve, how do you putting all these pieces together? SI, Dave Burkett, taking center reps, putting this whole thing together. Talk to the people.
Well, you sound like you're worried. First of all, you sound a little concerned. All right, let me just calm you down. All right, these are OTAs. The key word is a word that's actually before OTAs. It's voluntary OTAs. All right, Frank is not required to be there. All right, Frank is just an old trusted battle axe. Like, the Vikings going to pick up that battle axe and it's just going to be reliable, and he's going to go to war and he's going to have no issues. I am not going to worry about this until training camp. When training camp comes and things start being required for you to show up, then if he doesn't show up, then we can have a conversation. But Alex Anzalone, he just had a new baby. Spend some time with your family. He's still working out, keeping himself in shape. I assume Frank's doing the same thing, maybe with a little bass fishing on the Detroit River when he's got a couple of downtimes, getting the boat in the water. I understand. If you want to come over for a fish fry, I'll show you how we grill up some fish and deep fry it over here, Frank. I'll put you to shame when it comes to cooking. But enjoy your time off. I'm not worried about this, but talking and looking at the contract, I had to do a little digging. Not a little digging. It wasn't hard to find. I had to see, all right, where does Frank rank in the center category when it comes to pay, Will? Well, according to Yahoo, I don't know if I fully 100% trust Yahoo, but, they've been around for a long time, credible or not, I don't know. He's number 2, Will. He's the second highest paid center, according to Yahoo, at $13.5 million. But if you look at Sport Track, the $13.5 million isn't what they're showing. They're showing that in 2025 he's making $9.1 million, and in 2026 he's making $11.5. So I think those numbers are more accurate. We've never had an issue with Sport Track, but the top center in the league is something I had to look at. And I had to say, well, if Frank's number 2 according to Yahoo, who's number 1? It's Creed Humphrey of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty good center. According to Yahoo, his salary is $18 million. So is he that much better than Frank Ragnow? I don't know. I'm not here to say who's the better player, who deserves to be more paid. I think when we talk about the Detroit Lions, there's just certain people we forget about. When you talk offensive line, the main guy you talk is Penei Sewell. Main guy you talk on offense, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Frank's very down on the list. Doesn't mean he's not important. I'm with you in a sense that you signed the contract. You were the highest paid. We understand that the NFL is evolving with all these TV contracts and deals, and teams are getting more money. So that high salary, the next year is kind of looking like a bargain. We've seen it with St. Brown. Some of the players we've signed recently, they've been the highest paid at their position for the blink of an eye, and then someone else is getting signed. So that's kind of the boat we're in. I don't think we should be redoing deals every other year, because is Amon-Ra St. Brown going to want a new deal next year? Because he was the highest paid for a second, and then I think Jamar Chase overtook him, or someone, I can't remember who it was. But I'm not going to worry about this until training camp. So is Frank worth $9 million this year? I personally think that's fair value. I mean, I go to work every day. I punch the clock. If you want to pay me $9 million, I'm going to be quite happy. But I understand that Frank he's chasing more money because I don't know how much longer he's going to play. Like, this is a guy that literally tore his meniscus a couple years ago, Will, and he missed like one game. He came back and played after like 1 week of resting. He's been playing with this toe injury that's been lingering since I think he was drafted. Like, he's just an ongoing injury for him that is inoperable. It's not going to get any better. He just has to fight through it. Does he deserve a little bit more money? Probably. Do we have a little bit of money to spend? Yes, we do. But we also have a lot of other big contracts coming up. So I'm not sure if this is an old Mexican standoff between Frank Ragnow and Brad Holmes, but something's got to give. But I'm really not going to worry about this until training camp starts.
Steve, you read me like a book in a sense of this.
That's what I do, Will. You've got a terrible poker face.
That's why I don't play poker. But I'm not extremely concerned, but there is a level of concern there. The beginning of this podcast, you made mention to one thing. You said that Frank was our captain, one of the most important pieces into this Detroit Lions team. And I agree with that. What concerns me is, so was Alex Anzalone. And the two people that we did not see at OTAs was Alex Anzalone and Frank Ragnow. That's what concerns me. Two pivotal players for the Detroit Lions. And then all of the moving parts around it, the Tate Ratledge, the emotions behind me knowing how passionate Frank Ragnow is about the Detroit Lions. He's a guy who typically, even if he's not participating at things, he's typically there, present, whether it's going over things from just a mental aspect, making sure that he's sharp and he's ready to go. There's some changes. We got a new OC in the building. There's some things that some terminology changes, some things that are going to be going on. The first time this offense is getting together, whether it's in their pajamas or it's in their shoulder pads, I don't like Frank not being there because who's making all of the calls for that offensive line? Frank Ragnow is. He's doing all of the things. I don't like him missing. So, and I don't think he wouldn't be missing if he didn't feel like he needed to and he was standing on business. It worries me. Now, do I think that we're going to get it figured out? I absolutely do. But I'm not going to lie either. I don't like the having 2 years on your contract. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Now, I'm just Will in my basement, just talking. Who cares? But that's my opinion. Now, if it was 1 year on his contract, he want to take a hard stance. Hey, I'm with you, man. That's because that's what Alex Anzalone's doing. He's saying, hey, man, I'm going into the last year of my contract, and I need to know what my future looks like. What are we doing? I'm with him on that. But 2 years left. When you signed it, we made you the highest paid center in the league. Let's play this season and then see. Steve, you hit when I gave you that bingo because I think you hit it on the head. It matters because maybe I'm not playing that much longer. So maybe I want to get paid so I can get on with my business. I want to get this last payday so I can get on with my business. Renegotiate. I don't want to wait another season, then renegotiate, and then have to play under that last contract season for the next 2 years and then start getting paid year in the third season at 31 and then 32 and 33. Maybe he's not looking at 3-4 more years. Maybe he's looking at 2 more years. He wants to get that payday before the 2 years. Maybe he's looking at, hey, Tate Ratledge is coming in taking center snaps, and this is a dude who's a dude, right? He's another dirtbag. Right? Maybe he's looking like, hey, maybe the Detroit Lions can negotiate a little bit harder if 2 years from now Tate Ratledge is going to be a different dude than he is coming in as a rookie. So maybe that negotiation gets a little tougher when Brad Holmes is sitting down like, hey, listen, you don't want to play ball. Maybe we just throw Tate at center. He's already been taking snaps. That conversation changes. Yeah. So I don't know, Steve. It worries me for those reasons, but I trust Brad. I trust Coach Campbell. I feel like they'll get it figured out, but there's a level with these two guys, man, because I love Alex and Frank Ragnow are two staples for the Detroit Lions. I know the league isn't bigger, or the players aren't. The whole team is not bigger. I can't even get it out. One player is not bigger than the whole team.
We got to be a professional, all right? There's thousands of people watching across the country right now, watching you fumble. There's people in Belize and in Bosnia right now that are waiting for Will to speak, and we can't have this kind of fumble.
Cleaning it up, but no one player is bigger than a team, right? So I understand that, man. But man, Steve, when Alex Anzalone came back from that broken arm, that defense was different. It was different. I can't really envision a world where Frank isn't out there making the calls unless we sign some rookie that's just a monster. And maybe Tate Ratledge was that. We haven't seen him on the field. We don't know. But I just can't envision that world yet, and I don't want to live in that world quite yet. So, Brad, Dan, please figure this out. But yeah, Steve, there's a level of concern. I'm calling it this, but it may be this.
1 to 10, what's your concern level?
5.
5.
Yeah, it's not crazy. I feel like
I'm more concerned about what I'm having for dinner tonight than I am about Frank Ragnow's contract. Are you going to come out here and say you're a 5? You're halfway worried, halfway halfway panicked?
Can I explain my 5?
Buckle up. I don't know.
So I say 5 because I think we get it figured out regardless, but I just don't want him to be pissed off, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what concerns me. He plays the next couple seasons, and he's a Lion. He's going to be out there. I don't think that's up for debate, but I just worry if Brad goes too hard, does he ruffle his feathers, and what does that go into our team aspect, our taking care of our guys, our thought processes? Because if a cancer gets into just a little, gets into one of our staples, I think that's how bad things happen. So that's why I say a 5. I'm not saying a 5 like, hey man, there's a 50% chance that he might not be with the Detroit Lions, or that's not what I'm saying, but it does. I just don't want to. He's a guy that I'm not looking to rub the wrong way. He's a guy that I want to continue to have his heart and his soul with the Detroit Lions and this team and this organization. So I'm just, both of these guys are guys, man. I know this isn't the Alex Anzalone show, but I want both of these guys to come back Detroit Lions, but be happy and feel good about it.
I was just sending a tweet out that Will calls Frank Ragnow a cancer send. Okay. I'm at a solid. I'll give you my 1 to 10. Will, I'm at a solid 0. Zero concern. All right. First and foremost. All right. I feel like Frank, there's a handful of players on this team that have earned the right to have their whole offseason. I think Frank is one of them. All right. If you're a rookie on a rookie deal, or if you're a young player, maybe on your second deal, you take your ass to OTAs unless you're injured or something's really going on. I think Frank has earned the right to get his time off. 2, Brad Holmes has never been in a Mexican standoff situation to where we're even going to talk about a holdout going into training camp. So I think both parties will leave and show up day one of training camp with a deal in place or an understanding of what's going to happen going forward. And I'm with you. Frank is going to be a Lion. I have zero concerns about that. But I think Brad wants to stay away from those situations. I think when you look at Frank Ragnow, I can't say that he's the heart of the offensive line because I call Penny Sewell that, and I'm not going to downgrade what I call him. But Frank is just old reliable. All right. He comes from the old regime of losing. He comes from that. He's one of him and Taylor Decker, I think, are the last 2 remaining players from the Quinn Trisha era, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to count Graham Glasgow because he left and then came back, but I'm pretty sure those are the last 2. So these guys want to win. I think Frank was probably ready to hang him up a couple years ago until we went on that NFC Championship game run, and I have nothing to base that on. That's just my opinion, my speculation. I think when we made that NFC Championship game, he got a taste of winning, and he wanted to run it back last year. And now he's like, all right, this team's close. I want to keep playing, but I need to take care of myself in the offseason. All right, I got this toe that can't get operated on. I've got bad knees. He's probably got a bad back, bad hips, bad shoulders. He's just baked up. He deserves his time off. Now, if it's day 1 of training camp, the first person I'm going to be waiting to hear about showing up if this situation is unresolved will be what's going on with Frank Ragnow. Mm-hmm. And then my concern will be a 2. It'll be a 2, Will, because I know he's going to be out there on week 1. Not even preseason week 1, regular season week 1. Frank Ragnow will be the center for the Detroit Lions. So I am 0% concerned. I think he earned the time for him to get his days off. But I want to share a little story about Frank Ragnow. All right, if I got to be honest. We weren't podcasting then, so this is just take my word for it. But I remember when we drafted Frank Ragnow, I sat at home and I was underwhelmed. I was like, Frank Ragnow, a center from Arkansas. And I can't tell you who I wanted. I'd have to go back and look at who was available in that draft. But I was underwhelmed in that draft. But I'll say this. I did say my exact words to my buddy was, if he ends up being a Hall of Famer, this is a phenomenal pick. And I think he's on that track. He's headed in that direction. I think he's been one of the best centers of his generation. Him and Jason Kelsey were kind of the argument. I personally think Frank's the best center in football. No disrespect to Creed Humphrey. He's a phenomenal player too, but Frank's just been doing it for longer. He's been doing it at the same level, if not better, on a bad team and very unrecognized. So 0% concern from me. This will all be taken care of. Brad doesn't want to get into this situation. Frank's an old vet. He deserves his time. I think that's all it is. But he's got $20 million coming his way. I can understand the thought process of saying, man, $20 million is great, but 25, 26 sounds better. 27 sounds better. 28 over the next 2 years sounds better. So, Frank, do what you got to do, man. Get your money. You deserve it. You've been here through the tough times and the good. You're one of the very few players who can say that on this team. So I'm with you. These owners are billionaires. Sheila Ford drives up her golf cart costs more than my house. Okay. So I don't feel bad for these players going out there and getting their money. So Frank, do whatever you got to do. Get that contract. I see a lot of people turning their backs on you, calling you greedy on Twitter. Not here, man. Get your money. No. Take me fishing. I'll be the one throwing up on the side of the boat because I get a little motion sick, but I'll show you how to cook the fish. That's all I need to do.
Steve, that leads me to a question. We're living on an island where you only get one. You get Alex or you get Frank. Who are you taking?
I drowned myself in the ocean. I'm not answering this question. I take the coward's way out.
Unbelievable.
I take the coward's way
Better
out.
not.
I become Tom Hanks in Castaway, and I take my ass out to the sea, and I let my raft get capsized, and I just go down with the ship. We need
Detroit
both.
313 family. You heard now he hammers me for politicians answers. A good journalist here just trying to ask just a juicy question. I get nothing. Unbelievable.
Because I know exactly how that answer would have went with whoever I pick. You would have said, "Oh, you're just going to disregard the other player, just not important." Frank Ragnow's not important. If I say Anzalone or vice versa, it's just your poker face. Will, I've been doing this for too long with you. I knew exactly what you're trying to lead me into, and I'm not going to bite your cheese.
You're damn right I would have.
You got anything else for tonight?
That's it.
Member shout outs real quick, and I'll address something else that was brought to our attention. New members, Paul Grosso, John Caulfield, Henry Wallace, and David Matthews, all of which have either joined from the beginning or upgraded their memberships. Greatly appreciated. And we're going to address something that someone commented. When I say to reach out to us on Facebook for stuff that you've won, I check my messages because I'm expecting something. And recently we've shifted to emails because it's just easier to track. We log into the email, check it that way. So if we're not expecting a message, our Facebook, I keep mine private. That's my family stuff. I don't add anyone from here on there, but we do have a public Facebook group for questions. But if you're messaging us directly, that's going to a spam folder, and we are not going to get a notification on that unless we are actually looking for it, i.e. the situation of a giveaway. And I'm considering that there's probably a strong chance that someone's trying to contact me for what they've won. And as well as not being able to comment on our giveaway for the Kirby Joseph helmet. That is 100% something that I did while making the studio. I accidentally set it to private. And even in the show, I was saying, I don't know why people can't comment. Once I went back and looked at it, it's because of how I had it set. So that's why no one's comments were getting read or answered, is because we couldn't see them till after the show. So someone had brought this to our attention. We wanted to clean that up. That's what's going on. Don't check Facebook messages. Join our public Facebook group. You can leave any questions you have there in a comment. I try to answer. I don't get on Facebook all that much, but my personal Facebook is for family stuff, so I just don't let anyone become a friend on there, unfortunately. But we do have a public group. If you guys have any questions, you're free to come there and ask whatever questions you have, and we'll try to get an answer for you.
For sure.
Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.